All right, let's dive into the world of footwear pattern making, getting ready for that big interview.
We've got you covered.
We're going to break down some common interview questions and, give you the inside scoop on what those hiring managers are really looking for. Plus, we'll throw in some insights about the industry itself.
Yeah, you'll be ready to knock their socks off.
Okay, so first up, this interview guide, Footwear Patternmaker, is a gold mine. 9 common questions.
But the real trick is figuring out what they actually mean, right?
Totally. It's like a secret code, like that first one. Describe your experience in creating footwear patterns from scratch. Sounds simple enough.
Right. But there's a lot more to it.
It's not just about listing projects. It's about showing them you understand that creative process, like how you turn a design sketch into a real pattern that actually works.
Exactly. They want to see that whole journey, from the initial concept all the way to a pattern that's ready to go.
Okay, so how do you make your answer really stand out?
Don't just tell them what you've done. Show them how you think. Pick a project that was a challenge, maybe a crazy design, or you had to use some unusual materials. Explain the steps you took, how you made sure everything was accurate.
And this is where those stories come in handy, right? Like, remember that time I had to make a pattern for a shoe with wings? Here's how I did it.
Exactly. Storytelling makes you memorable, brings your experience to life.
Okay, on to question number 2. What is your experience in using CAD software for pattern making? I mean, that's pretty standard in the industry now, right?
Oh, absolutely. These days, you got to be fluent in CAD software. But don't just name drop programs. They want to see you can use them effectively.
Right, so instead of just, I know Rhino, you could say something like, I'm really good at using Rhino to flatten 3D models and create seam allowances. Specifics.
Yes. Show them you understand the software's power and how it translates to real-world pattern making.
Speaking of real world, this is where RoleCatcher's skill guides come in, right? They can help you brush up on those specific CAD skills.
Exactly. RoleCatcher's AI analyzes your skill set and points you to resources to fill any gaps, like a personal career coach.
Super helpful. Back to the interview. Question 3, all about accuracy. How do you ensure your patterns are accurate and precise? This one screams attention to detail, quality control.
Absolutely. They want to see you understand the impact of even a tiny error. I mean, they can make the difference between a shoe that fits perfectly and one that, well.
Right, so it's not just saying I'm a perfectionist. You need to give them examples, how you do it.
Exactly. Specific tools, techniques. Maybe you use a French curve for tricky curves, or you make a test fit out of muslin before cutting into the good stuff.
Oh, the muslin test fit. Classic. It's amazing how those fundamental techniques are still so important, even with all the new technology.
You're the foundation no matter what.
Okay, question 4. Staying current. How do you stay up to date with the latest trends and technologies in pattern making? This feels less about technical skills and more about passion.
You got it. This is your chance to show them you're not just content with the way things are. You want to learn. You want to grow with the industry.
So drop those industry publications, online forums, conferences you've been to.
Maybe mention a new technology you're exploring, like 3D printing in footwear. Show them you're on the cutting edge.
Oh, and this is where RoleCatcher's Career Compass comes in. That AI can give you insights into emerging trends, help you focus on those in-demand skills.
Totally. Make sure you're future-proof.
All right, question 5. This is classic. Describe a time when you had to troubleshoot a problem with a pattern. Feels like they're testing your problem-solving skills under pressure.
Oh, for sure. They want to see you think on your feet. So pick a situation where the design didn't easily translate to a pattern, maybe because of material limitations or a complex construction.
And again, storytelling. Walk them through the problem, the steps you took, and how you got to the solution.
Don't forget to highlight the outcome. Did your solution save the day? Did it lead to a better process? A positive result always makes the story stronger.
Love that. All right, question 6. How do you collaborate with other departments, like design and production, to make sure your patterns meet their needs? This is all about teamwork, communication.
It's a team effort. You got to work with designers, production folks, sometimes even clients. Show them you can communicate effectively, understand different perspectives.
Share a story about a time you had to work with another department to overcome a challenge, maybe adjusting a pattern based on feedback from production, or finding a workaround because of materials.
Right. This question is also a chance to show you understand the bigger picture. You're not just focused on the pattern itself, but how it fits into the whole process.
Speaking of the bigger picture, RoleCatcher's AI can actually analyze those job descriptions, identify those specific skills they're looking for.
It's true. It can help you tailor your answers to really hit those key points.
Love it. Okay, question 7, versatility. Describe your experience in working with different materials for footwear. Leather, synthetics, you got to be comfortable with it all, right?
This is where you show off your knowledge about materials. How they impact pattern making. What challenges have you faced? How have you adapted your techniques?
Like working with leather is totally different from a stretchy knit fabric, right?
Yeah.
The way you cut, the stretch, the construction, it all changes.
Exactly. Highlight your ability to adapt and make sure the pattern works with whatever material you're using.
This reminds me of this designer I know. Makes these incredible shoes out of upcycled materials. I can only imagine the pattern making challenges.
Oh, I bet. But that's what keeps it exciting, right? There's always something new to explore.
Okay, question 8. Diving into specialization now. Describe your experience in creating patterns for different types of footwear, like boots, sandals, sneakers. It's all about showing your range, right?
It is. Are you a specialist or a generalist? Can you make a pattern for a rugged work boot and a delicate evening sandal? Do you understand the different techniques involved?
And again, this is where your collaboration skills come in, working with design teams.
Absolutely. Explain how you work with them to turn those sketches into real patterns. Have you ever suggested changes to a design to make it easier to manufacture or improve its performance?
Finding that sweet spot where design meets practicality.
Exactly. Showcasing that understanding makes you super valuable to any footwear company.
Okay, last but not least, question 9. Leadership. Describe your experience in managing a team of pattern makers. Even if you're not applying for a management role, those leadership qualities are important.
Oh, yeah. Think about times you've taken on a leadership role, even if it was informal, maybe mentoring someone or leading a project. It's all about communication, delegation, motivation, getting results through teamwork.
And this is where RoleCatcher's AI-powered CV builder can really shine.
For sure. It can analyze your experience and suggest ways to frame your accomplishments to highlight your leadership potential.
Love it. All right, so we've tackled the 9 common questions, but I'm guessing there's more to acing an interview than just having the right answers, right? What are some insider tips you can give us?
Well, one thing that always impresses interviewers is genuine passion. It's about more than just getting the job. It's about loving what you do.
So how do you show that passion during an interview?
Talk about a shoe design that inspires you, what excites you about the industry. Let that enthusiasm shine through.
Yeah, I can see that. When you're genuinely passionate, it shows. And it's contagious.
It's true. Another tip, be prepared to talk about salary expectations.
Oof, that's always a tough one.
It is. But don't worry, RoleCatcher's got you covered there too. Their AI analyzes salary data so you can go in feeling confident and ready to negotiate.
Knowledge is power. All right, we've covered a lot on the interview prep, but let's zoom out for a sec. What are some career paths for a footwear pattern maker? What does that journey look like?
Well, you could specialize, right? Like athletic shoes or high heels. You can move into management, lead a team. Some people even start their own companies, design their own lines.
Wow, so many options.
Yeah.
It's really inspiring to see where this career can take you.
It is. And no matter what path you choose, continuous learning is key.
Right. The industry's always changing. Stay curious, seek out new knowledge, embrace new technologies.
And guess what can help you stay ahead of the curve? RoleCatcher's skill guides. They offer training on a huge range of skills in tech, from advanced CAD software to sustainable manufacturing.
Sounds like RoleCatcher can be a valuable ally throughout your whole career, not just the job search.
It can. Landing that first job, navigating your career path, their AI tools and resources can really help you achieve those footwear pattern-making dreams.
All right, deep divers, that wraps up the first part of our deep dive into the world of footwear pattern making. We've explored common interview questions, insider tips, even touched on those career paths and resources.
And in the next part, we're going to dive even deeper into those interview questions, give you specific examples of how to craft those answers that'll make you shine.
All right, let's get back to those interview questions. We talked about storytelling, but what kind of stories really work in a footwear interview? What resonates with those hiring managers?
Think about stories that highlight your strengths, like problem solving, adaptability, passion for footwear, your ability to collaborate too.
So don't be afraid to talk about challenges you faced.
Exactly. Show them you can handle the unexpected. Interviewers aren't looking for someone who's never made a mistake. They're looking for someone who can learn from them and, come up with creative solutions.
Makes sense. It's about growth, Resilience.
Right, like a great story would be one where you had to redesign a pattern because the original just wasn't working with the chosen material.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah. Or a time when you collaborated with a designer to overcome a tough design challenge. Maybe you had to suggest tweaking the design a little to make it easier to manufacture or to, make the shoe perform better.
Finding that balance between the creative vision
Hmm.
and what's actually doable, right?
Exactly. And showing that you get both sides of that equation, that makes you a valuable asset.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Salary expectations. You mentioned RoleCatcher can help, but I still get nervous about that conversation.
Well, first, remember it's a normal part of the process. Don't be afraid to discuss it. And second, do your research. RoleCatcher's AI can give you salary data for similar roles in your area.
So I should have a number in mind, but also be ready to explain, why I think that number is fair.
Yes. Be prepared to talk about your value, what you bring to the table.
That definitely makes me feel more prepared. Thank you. Now, zooming out a bit, what makes a footwear pattern maker truly successful?
It's a mix of things, really. You need those technical skills, obviously. A good eye for detail, a passion for footwear design.
But it's not just technical, right? There's an artistic side to it, too.
Absolutely. The best pattern makers can take a design sketch and turn it into a 3D pattern that not only fits well, but also captures the designer's vision.
Like, they're artists, but with fabric and leather.
That's a great way to put it. And just like any artist, they're always pushing the boundaries, trying new things, seeking inspiration.
Which brings us back to staying current, right?
Hmm.
How can footwear pattern makers keep up with the industry?
Industry events and conferences are great for networking and learning. And, subscribing to publications, following online forums, all those things help.
And RoleCatcher.
Hmm.
Their career compass can point you towards those emerging trends, those in-demand skills.
Exactly. Keeps you ahead of the game.
Okay, so you mentioned some pattern makers start their own design companies.
Yeah.
What does it take to make that leap?
A lot of hard work, definitely. Dedication and that entrepreneurial spirit. But it can be incredibly rewarding to build your own brand, see your designs come to life.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
What are some of the challenges and rewards of being a footwear entrepreneur?
Well, one challenge is the business side, right? Marketing, sales, production, logistics, all that stuff. But the rewards, seeing your shoes on the runway, in a magazine,
It's so cool.
or even just seeing someone wearing them on the street, knowing you created something people love.
That must be an amazing feeling. All right, back to the interview prep for a second. We've covered storytelling, salary, career paths. What about the little things, like what to wear to an interview, how to follow up?
For attire, always lean towards professionalism. A suit might be overkill, but you want to look sharp.
Okay, so like nice slacks or a skirt, a blazer, maybe a button-down shirt.
Exactly. And of course, wear a pair of shoes you're proud of.
Oh, that's a good point. A chance to show your style, your passion for footwear.
It is. And a subtle way to show the interviewer you understand design, you appreciate the details.
I like it. Now, following up after the interview, is a thank you note still a good idea?
Definitely. It's polite and shows you're still interested. And you know what can help you write the perfect thank you note?
RoleCatcher.
You got it. Their AI can analyze the job description, your notes from the interview, and suggest key points to highlight.
So helpful. Okay, we've covered a ton today. Interview tips, career insights, salary, even fashion advice. Is there anything else you want to share with our listeners who are ready to dive into footwear pattern making?
I'd say embrace the journey. It takes technical skill and creative vision, so be prepared to work hard, keep learning, and always explore new possibilities.
Love that. It's where passion meets dedication.
Huh.
But landing the job is just the beginning, right?
Oh, yeah. The real fun starts when you turn that passion into a career. And remember, RoleCatcher is there to support you every step of the way.
All right, deep divers. That wraps up the second part of our footwear pattern making deep dive. More interview tips, career paths, the entrepreneurial side of things. We even tackled attire and follow-up etiquette.
And in the final part, we're going to shift gears a bit and talk about footwear technology. We'll explore how things like 3D printing and sustainable materials are shaping the future.
All right, we're back for the final part of our footwear pattern making deep dive. We've talked interviews, career paths, even what to wear. But let's talk future. The footwear world is always changing, right?
It is, and it's an exciting time to be in footwear. New technologies are like revolutionizing everything, how shoes are designed, made, even personalized.
I'm really curious about 3D printing. Is that something pattern makers need to be thinking about?
Oh, absolutely. 3D printing is opening up so many possibilities. You can create Really complex designs, customized fits, even more sustainable manufacturing.
So it's not just a futuristic thing. It's actually changing how things are done.
Yeah, it really is. Imagine, instead of a traditional 2D pattern,
Yeah.
you design a shoe digitally and then print the whole thing, the sole, the upper, everything, all at once.
Wow, that's incredible. But it seems like it would require a whole new set of skills, right?
It does, and that's why it's so important to stay ahead of the game. RoleCatcher skill guides can actually help you develop expertise in 3D modeling and printing specifically for footwear.
That's amazing. So even though it's still evolving, you can start learning now and be ready for what's next.
Exactly. Another big thing is sustainable footwear. People are way more aware of the environmental impact of their choices, and that includes shoes.
Yeah, for sure. I've definitely noticed a shift towards eco-friendly materials and ethical manufacturing.
That's a trend that's not going away. As a pattern maker, you need to understand sustainable materials, production methods. It's crucial.
So recycled materials, plant-based alternatives to leather, minimizing waste, that kind of thing.
Exactly. You have to think about the whole life cycle of the shoe, from where the materials come from all the way to what happens to it at the end of its life.
It's about creating a shoe that looks good and works well. It's about doing it responsibly, sustainably.
Absolutely. And you know what's really cool? A lot of these innovations are happening through collaboration. Designers, pattern makers, material scientists, engineers, everyone's working together to push the boundaries and create a more sustainable future.
That's awesome. I'm excited to see what happens next in the world of footwear pattern making.
It's a really dynamic field, so many possibilities. If you love design, technology, and making things better for the planet, this could be the perfect career for you.
Well, I think we've given our listeners a solid foundation to start building their footwear dreams. Interview prep, career insights, the future of the industry.
And don't forget, RoleCatcher is there to help. Their AI tools and resources can help you find a job, build your skills, and stay ahead of the game.
So to all you aspiring footwear pattern makers out there, go for it. Make those shoe dreams happen.
Embrace the challenges, celebrate your successes, and never stop learning. The world is waiting for your amazing footwear creations.